Hey guys, it's Matt Faircloth here. I wanted to talk to you about 3 things that we look for when we're looking at a buy, fix, and rent. This is a property that we just walked through. It's here in Trenton, New Jersey. We do a lot of our work here in Trenton. We do a lot of buy, fixing, and renting for ourselves and for others here in the city of Trenton. So we just walked through. This is a 4-bedroom, 1-bath. It's interesting. It's going up for auction tonight, so we're going to be present at the auction and make a bid on it. And we did our walkthrough to determine what needs to be done so we can properly evaluate the property and make a bid, right? So here's some things that I saw that I'd like to share with you today for things that we look for when we're looking at a buy, fix, and rent, right? Number 1, the property's actually, it shows in decent condition. The story on this one briefly was another investor got in, put a bunch of money into the place, and then he was trying to flip it and couldn't because he had over improved the property, spent too much money on the property, and ended up upside down. And so the property actually has new carpets and a new kitchen and towel work and things like that. So at a glance, it looks good. But lesson number 1 is look for shoddy workmanship. And so that's what we saw. We saw HVAC ducts that weren't positioned in the right place. They were using the floor joists of the property as an HVAC duct for pushing air in, not for a return, which is pulling air out of the property and going back to the furnace, which is okay to use a floor joist for that, but they're using floor joists for pushing air into the property, which is actually not the building code in this town. And it's also dirty. You can have dirt sitting there in the floor joist. It's going to blow into the property to your tenants and that kind of thing. And it's not safe. It's not a good practice to do it that way. So we saw that. We went through the basement. We also looked for things like just in an old town like this. This is again Trenton, New Jersey. A lot of the properties are more than 100 years old. So you look for things that are older that the tenant's not going to want to deal with on their own. Like the property has oil heat, and that's something you can see right there. Those are the oil fill ports in the vent. So when we pulled up, I saw that the property had oil heat. Oil heat's extremely expensive, and it's variable. It's kind of like you don't really know what the price of oil is going to be the next day. It fluctuates quite a bit, and the tenant will have to lay out a lot of money to fill up a 250-gallon oil tank. Could run them $1,000, which some tenants may not have that kind of money to fill up their oil. And instead of like natural gas, where they get to just pay a little bit on a monthly basis, they may have to write a big check once or twice a winter to fill up that oil tank in a one-time shot. So you look for things like that that are just in older properties that aren't really standard, or you should try and avoid. Another thing that we look for that doesn't exist in this property that I look for is something called knob and tube wiring, which is very, very old wiring. It's typically in older houses like this that were built before the 50s. Even at the turn of the century, and it's a very old wiring that can be a fire hazard at times. So when I see it, we budget to remove it too. So you look for things that are older that either a tenant's not going to deal with, or that are a safety hazard. And the third thing that you look for in a property, we just evaluated cost, obviously. So you got to run numbers for a buy, fix, and rent. This property has really, really, really high real estate taxes, which can be overlooked. I think sometimes you can just assume that they're going to be around a certain number, but without running the numbers and looking really in public record to determine what the taxes were, you can end up overpaying for a property and having to have low cash flow because you overpaid for the property and didn't account for things that are going to throw off your expenses, like high real estate taxes. So that's something that's going to pull down our bid quite a bit, because those real estate taxes come by every year, and they're high, and you can appeal them, which we're planning on doing, but if that doesn't go through, we're going to be subject to high taxes on this property. So we are going to be making a bid. We're going to get in here, we're going to clean it up, and we're going to rent it out and put it in our portfolio for us or one of our investors. So that's the story today. I hope this is a benefit to you, and good luck for you folks that are out there doing buy, fix, and rents, and of course, happy holidays.